Hi, everybody. I wanted to provide a very brief overview of the dissertation and practice. I had a really wonderful conversation with Draper and Linda last night, and they really shared kind of a need to review the DIP process as a whole, but then where does this course kind of fall within that process? So I definitely thought that it was important for me to share some supplemental information for all of you so that you're better able to kind of understand the influence and impact of this course and the rest of the dissertation and practice. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. So this is a visual that I created, and I'm going to show you resources from 715. And the reason I'm doing that is in 715, we actually explicitly kind of review this entire process, and I co-designed that course with another faculty member. So this is what it kind of looks like. So in terms of ED 715, which is your proposal course, and that class, that is a culmination of your chapter 1, which is your introduction, your chapter 2, which is your lit review, and your chapter 3, which is your methodology or design for action. So in terms of this course, so for ED 703, you are actually writing your chapter 2, which is your literature review. So that is why the work that we do in this course is so critical, is because the major outcome of this course is that you will have a really solid draft of chapter 2 that you'll revisit in ED 715. The other course that you'll take subsequently from this course is 713. And in that course, you are going to actually be writing your chapter 3, your methodology, design for action. So when you actually approach 715, you will have a draft of both your chapter 2 and your chapter 3, and you will be able to just write your chapter 1, which is your introduction. And that's happening in your semester 6. So following that, you will have your dissertation and practice proposal. And in semester 7, you will actually defend your DIP proposal to your committee. And then following that is where you will do data collection, or if you've already had collected data that you're utilizing, you will then go through data analysis. And that's where your 2 kind of chapters come in, chapters 4 and 5. So after this kind of very brief overview, I wanted to share with you what it actually looks like on Canvas. So this is actually a lesson from 715. So I just wanted to provide you some context. So here you'll see the same visual that I just showed you. But what I wanted to share with you is I also created this chart, and I will send this to you as well if this is something that you think would be helpful. But I basically provided an overview of each chapter. So for this course, you will be writing your literature review. So this is providing an in-depth description, summary, and synthesis of past studies that have been looking at your specific area of interest. So within your literature review, you will be talking about salient themes that you find within the review. You will then note important limitations and gaps, which will inform future research, and that's where your proposed study will come into play. So in 715, the next course, or 713, I'm sorry, you will be writing your design for action methodology. So Chapter 2 is so critically important because it lays the foundation for these other chapters. So think about it as a house. If your house has a weak foundation, it's going to cause potential cracks or other terrible things from happening to your house. So we want to make sure that your chapter 2 is solid. So in chapter 3, this is really the heart of your DIP. So this is exactly what you are proposing to do for your study, from talking about your methodology that you're proposing, providing context and justification for why you're making those decisions. You will be talking about your participants, your data sources, how you're going to be collecting data, how you're going to be analyzing your data, etc. So that's your chapter 3. And then in 715, the only chapter that the new chapter that you're going to write is your introduction. So this is really kind of providing that broad kind of scope and picture in terms of the salient research questions, how that's addressing a specific problem that you're wishing to solve. And again, some of these kind of components, they might sound repetitive, but this is why you do chapters 1, 2, and 3 in proposal, to make sure that the entire document is very, very seamless. So again, the introduction should provide a very brief overview of the entire work, from providing a broad overview of the topic, being able to kind of narrow that into your specific topic of interest. And then you go into your purpose, your research questions, and the important kind of definitions that you're going to be defining. So after you defend your proposal and you have either collected data or you're going to collect data, is you are going to be writing your last 2 chapters, results and analysis, and chapter 5, discussions and conclusions. So chapter 4, you're going to be talking specifically about the data analysis process that you conducted when you're actually utilizing all the data sources, and how you analyzed it, whether you use quantitative, qualitative, or a mix of both. And then you also talk about your salient findings, and these findings correspond directly to your research questions. And then lastly is your chapter 5, discussion and conclusions. So typically you include how your findings connect to previous research from your chapter 2. You also include things like recommendations for future research. So you would address the limitations of your study, and then how those limitations of your study would be addressed in future research, in addition to including information about implications for leadership and policy, and applications to practice and reflections. So this is really thinking about your study, more of a broad scope, and thinking about how your study and your study's findings are going to help to add and extend the already existing body of lit, and what else could be contributed. So I hope that this was helpful. I will definitely send the kind of like corresponding document that outlines these chapters, as well as that visual that I showed you. But please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have any additional questions or concerns. Have a great day, everyone.